So hello everyone. Welcome to join today's webinar. I am Michelle from Insight, and as you guys may already know, Insight is a career community which aims to empower users' career. So because of the lockdown in India, we have already held several webinars to help you to know more about your professional field, and we're going to hold more in the future. So if you haven't joined any of our WhatsApp group, I will share the link in the chat box, and don't hesitate to click the link and join us. Please stay tuned for more insights and more webinars and more discussions there. So today we are very honored to invite Biplav to share his experience here. So Biplav is a highly experienced artificial intelligence product manager, and now he's going to share about his experience in AI product manager. What's the difference between AI product manager and the normal product manager? So now I'm going to pass the mic to Biplav and hope you can enjoy it.
Thank you, Michelle. Hello, everyone. I hope each one of you are staying at home and keeping safe. Before I get started, I would like to recommend the Insights app. They have built a very strong community of product managers very quickly. So if you haven't installed it yet, please go ahead and install the same. Topic for me today is being an AI product manager. Before I start, I would like to try and attempt to make this as interactive as possible. So I'll ask you guys to respond to me at times, and please use chat window to respond. So first question I have is, how many of you guys are product managers? Can you respond with yes, no on the chat window? Okay. How many of you are looking to move into product management role? You can respond with yes right now. Okay, cool. So as this is a topic about AI product management, I'll ensure that I walk you through basics of AI without getting too technical, and then try to explain about how product management role is similar and different from a regular product management role. Before I begin, I'll quickly talk about myself. I'm an engineer who transitioned into product management. I have about 11 years of experience in building products. I've worked with companies like Cisco, which is into their video division, where I was working on something like set-top boxes, then into Lifesize, where I was working into video conferencing systems, Acton, which is into marketing automation, or Capillary, which is a retail SaaS company. I've also experimented few times with startups in real estate domain. Currently, I'm leading Insights product vertical at Capillary, where I manage data platform and data related products. My primary responsibility over there is to democratize analytics and AI for a retail marketeer. I help brands to run more personalized engagement. These are some of my coordinates. If you guys would want to reach out to me, you can use any of those. So that was about me. I'll just want to quickly walk you through what Capillary does. This is important because the examples which I use throughout this session would be from my Capillary experience. Capillary is a retail commerce SaaS product company. It helps retailer to retain consumers, their customers. Capillary builds marketing technologies which can help retailers retain their customers. So Capillary is mainly into retail and manufacturing goods vertical. We actually cover 5% of retail in Asia. We have 300 million consumers on the platform. We power over 35,000 stores globally. We work with 400 brands. Some of the top brands that we work with are listed below. So, for example, Walmart, KFC, Pizza Hut, Landmark, Aditya Birla Group. We operate out of 30 countries. We have 14 offices, and we have over 800 employees worldwide. This was important because this says how much data we have to power all our AI initiatives. Now let's go to the agenda. First, I'll talk about why and what of AI. Then I'll try to explain what is AI product management, how is it different, and then we'll go about the flow or general framework which I follow while building an AI product. Okay, so the first question: can someone, when you hear about AI, what does it come to your mind? Can someone people type on hearing AI? What is the first thing that comes to your mind? You can use the chat box to type the answers. Robots, very nice, interesting. Chatbots, okay. Okay, all of these are very good automation. Yeah, that's a very good point. Anyone else wants to attend? I'll just give, hold on for 5 more seconds. Make logic in variable data. Interesting. Okay, so e-commerce portals, Uber, great. All of these are really good points. So let me first define what is artificial intelligence or AI for you. Any technique that enables computers to mimic human intelligence using logic, if then rules, decision tree, or machine learning, including deep learning. So, AI is any technology that can help you mimic human intelligence. You can do it in any way you want to. It generally helps you to enhance the speed and precision, making human effort more effective. So generally you will do automate, optimize, and improve experience using AI. Machine learning is a subset of AI. It enables machines to improve tasks with experience. Without programming a machine, you are able to teach and adapt a machine to do a particular task. While deep learning is a further subset of machine learning. You can think about deep learning is a multi-layered machine learning approach where there's a multiple machine learning algorithms running all in a neural network, and its output helps you in the decision making. For the purpose of this webinar, whenever I would be referring artificial intelligence, please think about machine learning, because that's the most effective way of implementing AI today, and it's most used way of implementing AI. So let's understand what is the role of an AI product manager. So on top of it, there's a technical product management. Underneath, there's data analytics product management, whose subset is a ML or AI product management. So whatever a technical product manager does is a role of ML and AI product management with a slight specialization in how to build products for which includes ML and AI. So what does a AI product manager do? Leads the vision of the product. Every product manager does that. Help with data. You have to help the team collect data, analyze data, facilitate the working of the technology team together. So you make sure that all the teams are working together. You listen to your customers, empathize, drive adoption, and growth led by business metrics. If you see, the primary skill set of any PM remains the same, be it AI PM or any other tech product manager. You have to conduct customer interviews, take part in user testing, define and track success metrics. This is very important. You have to define and track success metrics, run design sprints, feature prioritization and roadmap planning, the art of resource allocation. Yes, it's not a science. You have to always figure out creative ways of allocating resources to get things done. Performing market assessment, do competitive analysis, figure out how other computations are performing and what is the right path you need to take, translate business to technical requirement or vice versa, pricing and revenue modeling. But last, but the most important piece is iterate. Keep on iterating on the above cycle and keep on course correcting and ensuring that your product succeeds. So these are the primary skill set of a product manager. It remains exactly same for a AIPM. So what it changes? AIPM decides that in his problem statement that he's going to use, should he use AI or not to AI or not to AI. So that's the most important decision he keeps on making on his each and everyday task to figure out, does it make sense to solve this particular problem using ML or not? And how to go about making that decision. I'm going to help you guys with that. So first rule, whenever in doubt, don't. So whenever you're in doubt, don't use AI. Next rule, don't. If humans can do it in business viable way, then don't use AI. So if you see that a human can actually still do that task in a business viable way, that you are still able to make it a viable business, then there's no necessary need of doing AI over there. If rule engine can do it, then don't. If you can write rules, be it hundreds of rules that you need to write, but writing those rules, are you able to solve that problem? Then there's no point of using AI over there. Using ML or AI should be your last resort. When you don't have any other ways of achieving the solution, that's when you go to ML and AI. And when will that happen? You have hit the product market fit and you are looking to scale. You have a huge scale. Humans or rule engine cannot solve that problem. That's when you go and try to take a crack at the problem using AI and ML. Your problem is very dynamic. It changes really fast. A good example for this could be search engine, where you keep on writing different queries, or your trending product when you have huge amount of products, or your personalization when you have a huge amount of customers. Your problem is changing very fast. The trends are changing very fast and it's very tough to adapt to it. Accuracy needed is not 100%. This is very critical. Any ML model or AI model you build, you would never get 100% accuracy. So in mission critical problems where you want accuracy to be 100%, I would suggest try and avoid using ML and AI as much as possible. It's best suited for automation and AI problem and when there's enough data available. So this is the virtual cycle of AI. To build better products, you need more user. More user gives you more data, which allows your models to improve, which in turn allows you to build better product. So you can only use AI when you have enough data. I'll be talking about data, how to go about collecting data in further slides, but this is very important. Just go ahead and use AI only when you have enough data. One of the most important part of AI ML model is you cannot ask why did this model return a particular data. There's no reliable way of doing that. The model is trained and it starts returning a data. But if someone comes and asks you why, it's not easy to answer that. So where you need to answer that, try and avoid using ML and AI. So let's look at some of the example problems which are solved using ML and AI. I'll be taking examples over here from the industries which I have worked in, and you guys would be open. I'll keep on asking questions. So one of the ways is to use ranking. If you want to rank recommendation categories, suppose you open a Swiggy and Swiggy knows that it has figured out you are a veg user, you are a vegetarian. So it should list down, rank the vegetarian food on top and then non-vegetarian food. Would you want to use AI for that? Yes, no?
No.
Good. You guys can actually type also. So You will use AI for your search results. When you want to personalize the ranking of hundreds and thousands of categories, whenever users search for a particular product on an e-commerce website. Similarly, recommendation. When you want to recommend a particular product to a customer based on his past transaction history or the kind of web pages he has visited, the kind of product categories he is visiting, recommended for you, which is seen on Amazon or other e-commerce website, there is when you use AI. Clustering. When you want to cluster a set of huge amount of data, you can go ahead and use AI. Example of clustering is customer segmentation. You have a base of 10 million users and you want to cluster users who are similar together. You can go and use any kind of unsupervised learning over there, something like K-means, to go ahead and create those customer segments. One of the top ways in which clustering is on Google is on Google News. You see, Google clusters all the different news articles which points to the news together, which points to the same news from different news providers. That is an example of clustering. Regression, where you want to predict something. Example could be you have hundreds of customers who come to your store, only few of them makes the second transaction. So you want to predict whether this particular customer is going to make a second transaction or not. You can go ahead and use regression algorithms over there. Classification problem. So you have a huge amount of product catalog and you want to improve search on it. How would you go about improving it? You will have to label each and every images. That's where you can go ahead and use AI. You want to label them by color, style. So AI ML algorithm can help you do that. Next is anomaly detection. So you have a particular trend in the data and you want to know when an outlier has happened, when a fraud has happened. Finance uses this for fraud detection. That's where you can go ahead and use AI. We at Capillary use anomaly detection to see if a trend of a particular store has changed. As a marketing manager, he manages thousands of stores for a brand with 10,000 different product categories, serving to hundreds of different customer segments. If particular segment, particular product category is not performing well in a particular store, he would want to get alerted. That's an example of anomaly detection. It will look off for a off trend or outlier trend in the data and alert. That's where you can go ahead and use AI. So let's look at how does a product management flow works in an AI product. First, you define goal. Then you have to go and collect data. Then there's a stage where algorithm modeling happens. You come up with a minimal viable product. You try to drive adoption. You test and measure. And that gives a feedback loop, creates a feedback loop, which can help you improve your algorithm and models. And this entire process is an iterative process. You have to continuously iterate over here till you can reach a desired accuracy. So you using this process, you can go and start building AI. This is generally used for any kind of products which you are building. You iterate over here. So first step is setting goal, the right goal for a product. You have to define the problem statement. It should be crisp and clear, and it should be measurable. So whenever you're defining your problem statement, you should ensure that there's a complete clarity in it and it's measurable. Then you have to go and define business goal around it. This is an important step for you because you can use this to align your business users, your tech counterparts, your UX team, and all the different teams in your organization with this. You'll define a business goal or ROI, which should be a business related KPI. Then in an AI project or AI product, you have to define what is the variable that you're trying to predict. And it should be defined very crystal clear. So here I've taken an example for the lapses in or predicting if a customer is going to churn or not. So the problem statement for me is, as a retailer marketing manager, X percentage of my customer comes and transact again at a retail store. So bringing back remaining set of customer can help me generate higher revenue for my brand. So that's the problem statement. So what would be the goal? So how will I define a ROI if I try to solve this particular problem statement? If a retailer can target the customers who are about to lapse, who are not going to transact again, this can lead to Y dollars. And how is this dollar value defined? 100 minus X would be Z. If Z percentage of customers are not going to transact, and we can engage with those customers by giving them an offer, then those customers will come back. What is the hit rate of our engagement? Could be P percentage. And we can assume the ATV of this customer, ATV is average transaction value of this customers, to be Q. So given that, I can come up with the exact dollar formula that would allow me to get if I go ahead and build this particular product. That is Z percentage of customer who is going to lapse into total transacting customer, into the hit rate, into the ATV of those customers. So this is the dollar value I can generate. I can go ahead and talk to my business user, align my tech team, align my data scientist, saying that this is the output that we can get if we go ahead and build this. And I can get enough resources to build my team using this kind of calculation. So what is I have to predict over here? Customers who are not going to make any subsequent purchase with a retailer. So this is the exact thing which I would want to predict to get Y dollars. But this is a very important piece. Like, you have come up with the ROI calculation and everything, but with business teams, you have to manage expectations. A AI model or any ML model follows an S curve. So initially you will see a very good accuracy, you will keep on improving it, but beyond that point it will flatten. You can't improve while the expectations will keep on increasing. So how do you manage expectation? Andrew Ng has given a very simple formula to understand the capability of AI for a product manager. He says that if a typical person can do a task in less than 1 second, AI could be used to automate that task. Secondly, AI can also be able to automate anything where you need to predict the next nth sequence of an event. So if there's a sequence of event and you want to predict nth sequence of the event, AI can be used. So follow these two rules, that whatever you are building will flatten out, its accuracy will flatten out, and after that improvement on it won't be easy. And you can only do limited things over here and use this to manage expectations. And whenever you are committing on time, be pessimistic, because AI products needs a lot of iterations to build accuracy. So being pessimistic here helps. Important point is, AI is not a magic wand. Your business user will keep on coming to you with a lot of interesting problems. And at one go, you'll think, okay, it might make sense to do it using AI, because you'll have enough data, you'll have a scale. But you also need to think about what ROI can I get out of this particular, if I build this particular feature or a product. And that's where you will have to make calls on a day-to-day basis. Let me ask a question around this particular pieces. Suppose I am a Flipkart. I have my headquarters in Bangalore. Now I want to figure out where should I open my next headquarters. Should I use AI for this or not? Guys, yes, no on the chat box. No, you should not, because you would be opening your headquarters only once. So there's no particular reason that you have to go ahead and build this model. You can manually analyze it. This is not a scalable problem. So you should not go ahead and build it using AI. You should do manual analysis where you can use some of the AI models for prediction, but it has to be manual. You don't need to automate this process because this will happen once in I don't know when. So any problem which is recurring and you keep on solving it, there's a scale. That's the only place where you would go ahead and use AI models. So let me ask you one more question. Okay, so headquarters done. Do we use AI to predict COVID-19? What do you guys think? Do you use AI to predict COVID-19 outcomes?
Yes.
Yes, because the scale is too high and it's changing very rapidly. And you want to continue, this is a good problem to automate. So let me move. Now you know what problems to work on when you are building an AI product. You are able to take those calls. You are able to set the right expectations with the business. The next important thing is to get the right team to do a problem. You don't need rockstar data scientists. You don't need rockstar development. You need a rockstar team to solve any AI product management problem. So who are the important stakeholders of the team? Obviously, there is a data scientist and there's an engineering team. It's very important to understand mostly data scientists and engineers are different people. Data scientists are people who like to look at a problem from maths perspective. They like to solve that particular problem from a mathematical model side. While engineers are the people who would like to take that model and make it into a product. They would figure out how to deploy that model, how to scale that model, how to acquire data. While there's a user, UX is a very important aspect of a AI product team. Why? As a UX, they figure out what is the parameters that impact this particular problem, what is something which a customer needs, how do you build trust on the particular model that you have created, how do you drive adoption of it. As a product manager, you would have to take up the business hat, and at times I also prefer getting some business user into this team, and this help us give the domain expertise to the data scientist and user experience. So as a product manager, you'll have to align everyone in the team. As any AI project, there's a lot of haziness, confusion all around. So it's always better to over communicate in such an environment. Keep on communicating each and every small steps with your data scientist, with your business user, with your user experience folks. You have to keep on aligning everyone to get them to the same page. Because of so much haziness, you have to make sure that you give the entire team a structure. That's the most critical piece of product manager over here. So okay, so I see a question. What is a data scientist anchor? So there's a team of data scientists. There would be one person who would lead it. So that's where the anchor comes in play. So you have to work very closely with the anchors, your data scientist anchor, your technical manager, your data scientist manager, your user experience manager, to ensure that everything is aligned. Depending on the size of the organization, it would differ. Some places there'll be a lot of people and there'll be managers. Some places there'll be individual leads, individual contributors. This will vary from depending on the size of the organization. Now, once you have defined goal, you have a right team, it's very important to set up the entire process that you are going to follow. I have given one sample process that I have seen working across my different data science AI ML projects. You can come up with your own over here. One very important piece is whenever you want to innovate while building a product, its first step is to innovate with the process. You'll have to adapt this process given the kind of problem or product you are working upon. So the first step in any of such project is a data acquisition piece. You have to figure out how will you acquire data, which all sources you will use to acquire data from, what are different places where you can get this data, and you'll acquire. The second step is data push or ingestion process. Where will you store this data? How will you ensure that this data is encrypted, secure while you are storing it? Once you are when you start getting this data regularly, you have created the pipeline of acquiring this data. The next critical step is data curation. Okay, here you have to work on structuring the data, formatting the data, cleaning the data, and reorganizing the data, which a data scientist can start using it. The next step in this process is generally model building. Here, you work with data scientists to look at the data, answer their queries, build their domain expertise so that they can create the right model. Once the model is built, generally during model building, what they do, they take 70% of data, which they call training data, and they keep 30% of data aside, which they call test data. They build their model on the 70% of the data, and then they measure it against the 30% of the data, which they call test data, and they come up with a accuracy of the model. At this point, you have to start with the model validation. As a PM, you play most critical role in model validation phase, because whatever model has been created, a data scientist validates it from a stats point of view. You have to validate it from a business point of view. Does it make sense? In our lab session example, if a data scientist validates a model and comes and says that accuracy is 70%, as a PM, being a business user, you know, mostly 80% of the customer labs. If they transact, only 20% of the customer comes and transact again. So you have to take stand over there and say that, no, this accuracy is not good enough. And these are the reasons why. Once the model is validated, everyone is happy about the output of the model. You have to work with engineers for deployment of this entire model, build the entire product around it. And while doing that, you also have to think about building a feedback loop. A feedback loop is the most critical piece in any AI ML product, because that helps you improve the product. We'll be talking about each and every step as we go ahead. So the first step is data.
One doubt on that slide, please. Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Yeah, the term ingestion, right?
Yes.
Could you explain what this ingestion means?
Okay. So you would be acquiring data from multiple different systems. To give you an example, if you are trying to predict the same example which I was talking about, predict whether a customer is going to make second transaction or not, you would get data from the stores where the customer is making transaction. You might get some more data from the e-com platform where customer is visiting before making the transaction. You might get some data about that customer from some data management platform. So you'll be getting data from different systems. You will have to get all of this data together in a one single platform. The process of doing that is called ingestion. And while you are doing it, you have to ensure that it's done in a secured way.
Okay, it is basically collating all the data from different sources, right?
Yes. And building the pipelines around it.
Building the
data pipelines. So data keep on flowing through those sources.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Let me move ahead over here. So in the next slide, I'll talk about data. Data is the most critical piece. And while you are working on the DS AIML project, you have to look at, is the data available or not? For the problem that you are trying to solve, is it data available or not? If data is not available, you have to figure out, how do I make this data available? How do I collect this data? As a product manager, you are the one who is responsible for the privacy aspects of the product. Whatever you're building, is it GDPR compliant? If you're using customer data, have you got the enough opt-in for it? Do you have enough permissions for it? Is your data pipeline secure or not? The next critical piece is data quality. Here, you have to look at relevancy, recency, and representativeness of the data. And also make sure that it's not unbiased. Sorry, it should be biased. You have to make sure that it is not biased. It's unbiased and data is complete. Okay, so what do you mean by relevant? So for the problem that you are solving, is this data relevant or not? Is it recent or not? So suppose if I'm looking to predict if a customer is going to make a transaction again or not, and I get data from e-com store while I'm going to predict for offline store, that data, e-com store data might not be relevant for me. If I get data which is 2 years old, it's not recent enough for me. Is it well represented or not? If I get data only for a particular segment of users, suppose when I ask for data, I got data for high loyal customers. That data is not representative enough. Is data complete or not? So representative and complete is almost goes hand in hand. And data should be unbiased. I should not get data only for the male customers. I should get data for all the different segments which transact at that particular store, to ensure that data is not biased. Generally, once you get data, 70% of your time would be spent on cleaning and structuring the data. I have made this slide so cluttered because the data which you are going to get will be more cluttered than this. So that is something which you need to understand. The data which you'll collect will be cluttered. How do you structuring the data, making sure that all the noise is removed, is very critical piece over here. And you'll have to figure out ways to do it. You might want to discard a lot of data. Suppose if I'm getting data which gives me the product prices, there would be some data where the price point is 0 or price is not available. You'll have to take calls, should I discard this data or do not discard this data? There'll be a lot of such call which you'll keep on taking when you get the data and try to structure this data. Lot of rules you'll write at this point which should allow you to get a very structured data which a data scientist can start working. So now you have got the data, you are now working with a data scientist. In model training, what will you do? The first let's quickly see what are the steps of model training. Feature engineering training, you get a model and you do testing. So before you start with feature engineering, you need to ensure that you are domain expertise over here, and the data scientists who are going to work on that model is also as good as a domain expert. How do you achieve that? You co-interview business users with data scientists. You try and build their expertise to a level of a business user. And wherever they are not able to reach that expertise, they'll come back and question you. You should be over there to answer their queries. They will come and ask, okay, I see this kind of behavior. Does it make sense? You should be in a position to take a good judgment call over there. And to do that, you will have to talk to a lot of different end customers and business users to build that expertise. They will come and ask, like, does this data look relevant to you? Or should I go ahead and use this particular data point or not? Should I use this kind of KPIs or not? As a product manager who is managing this team, you have to take a lot of decisions on a regular basis around the quality of data, the kind of KPIs they want to use, and the kind of models. There'll be a lot of questions around it, and you'll have to answer. And then your role would be helping in testing and building a framework for that model, giving the business expertise, domain expertise side into this particular testing exercise. Cool. Once the model is ready, the next step is building an MVP. So I hope you guys understand what is an MVP. I won't go into that particular part. I'll rather talk about the kind of problems you'll see while building an MVP on an AI ML project. So most of the biggest challenge in an AI product is to make it business viable. You have built a really fancy model and it works, but the compute cost is too high. It takes too long to compute it. That solution won't be viable for you. Or it works, but it needs a lot of servers. And to compute something which can give you a ROI of X, you need to spend 10X. That is not business viable for you. So at that point, you have to make trade-offs. You have to make trade-offs on the accuracy part, on data volume part. And those trade-offs are the calls that you need to make at this point. to get your model to production ready stage. Once it is at a production ready stage, you will work with engineers in scaling that particular model out, figure out the deployment needs, get it to deploy it on a platform, launch your product, and post that you'll monitor, measure the model performance. We'll be talking about feedback loop, driving adoption, and building trust in the next few slides. Okay, drive adoption. So one of the biggest challenge in any AI data science problem is that there is no way to know why it works in a particular way. So to get anything adopted, you need your customers to have trust on that particular product. And with AI ML models output, it becomes a big challenge because it's easy to build trust on something that you know, and it's really tough to build trust on something which is unknown. Because of the entire uncertainty over there, it's really a big challenge in any data science AI ML problem. I have taken an example from this is a Google Analytics page. They have insights on their thing where they predict insights about your website performance. If you see, as a trust marker, they have put like, okay, this is based on anomaly detection. If you want to know more, this is how you can know more about it. So those are the challenge that you see while getting your product adopted. So how should you work around it? Whatever model you have created, you have to understand where it fails. You have to figure out your testing methodology in a way that you can come up with, okay, this model fails over here. Do I have a fail-safe method? You might want to build a fail-safe method over there, or you would want to show a confidence factor on your output. Lots of people use a confidence score over here. Okay, I've got this output. This is my confidence. Let the end user decide about, do they want to go ahead and use it or not use it? You have to deliver ROI. That if someone wants to go ahead and use a particular AI output, they should see ROI out of it. So in one of our projects where we were predicting an audience that you should go ahead and engage with, we were showing ROI as the kind of revenue uplift you can get by using this particular list of customers. And next piece is build trust. How do you build trust? When by building transparency, you have to somehow explain the output which you are giving. What is the inputs which have gone in and making that decision? In our predicting the audience that our marketing managers should go out and engage with, we were showing KPIs of those particular audience. What was the last time this particular set of customer has shopped on average? What is the average ATV of it? Explainability is the next piece. It's really tough to explain the output of any data science AI ML project. You have to figure out ways how can you explain the decision that a system make to a human. And the third point is you have to, AI systems might not be reliable. You have to figure out ways how to make it more and more reliable. For this, generally what you do, you write a set of rule engine and on top of it, the model output, where you can get rid of outlier, fall back to trending. So in a recommendation example, suppose if you see you won't have recommendation for everyone. Suppose you are an e-com platform, you have created a recommendation model, which will recommend for every, create a recommended list of products for every customer. A customer has just come to the website and he has just seen 2 products. You might not have a recommendation for this particular customer. What will you do? In that point, you'll fall back to the trending product list. In the recommended for you, you'll recommend him trending products. So these are the different ways where you make the output of a model more reliable, which helps you drive adoption for your AI ML models. The next critical part is building a feedback loop. So here I have taken an example where the model was supposed to label each and every image if it is safe to be viewed or not. So model is looking at an image, it's predicting not suitable, uncertain, or suitable. So there would be a feedback loop where humans would sit and he would look at the uncertain part, the images which model doesn't have enough confidence on. And this feedback goes back to the model which helps improve the output of the model. And this all data will help you retrain the model and improve the accuracy. So how do you create feedback loop? By measuring, iterating, which will help you increase the accuracy. So generally in any AI ML model, it's not man versus machine, but it's humans and machines working together. Another example of feedback loop I can think of is when Google Assistant was launched. Whenever you interacted with the assistant, Google asked for thumbs up or thumbs down. That was a way of doing the feedback. So this is the most critical aspect, where you build your product, you measure the output, generate more data, learn from it, and build. And you have to automate this process in case of a model. In case of normal product, you will generally learn from it and create new feature set. Here, you'd want to try and automate this as much as possible. So as we were on the feedback pieces and we are also running out of time, I'll ask you guys to give feedback on this particular session. I've shared a link with everyone which can be used, where you can go ahead and give feedback. I am open for questions now. So you guys can ask questions on directly on the mic, or you can type it in if you guys have any questions, and I can deep dive into any of the aspects which I talked about.
Yeah. Which are the tools mainly used for this AI?
So
Software tools.
yeah, so there are a lot of different tools. I'll start from the first process. When you get the data, so you need a ETL pipeline to get data from different sources and get it onto one particular place. Once you have this ETL pipeline built, there are a lot of different places where you can build such pipeline, starting from Informatica kind of tools to a more newer tools like Databricks or Cubole, which allows you to get data from different sources and analyze the data. They have a notebook solution over there, which a data science can go ahead and use that to code things like creating this data, cleaning up the data, and building their models. They integrate with different libraries like Airflow or ML libraries which are available out of Spark. And once they have all of this, they create a model. The entire experimentation is done on a notebook solution, which could be something like a Jupyter, Zeppelin, or Databricks has their own notebook solution, which is a branch of Jupyter itself. The programming language which a data scientist generally use varies from MATLAB, R, Python, Scala. I haven't seen many data scientists using much of Java over there, though Java can also do that. I hope I was able to answer the question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys? I'll request every one of you to please write feedback on the form URL, which I've shared with everyone. Okay then. Once again, hello. Yeah.
Is MVP a part of every AI algorithm?
It's very important part. Yeah, it's a very important piece. That's what I see, because once you have a model, if you can't create a minimal viable product and go out and test it with actual customers, you would never know the accuracy of it. From a stats perspective, you'll see a very good accuracy, somewhere around 90%. But when you actually go out and test it with the actual customer, that's when you come to know what is the accuracy of the model. The reason for this is in real world, the number of variables that impact your model is much higher than you can think of. So MVP is most critical phase for any data science model.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions? Okay, guys, thank you very much. Please stay at home. Please stay safe. And if you have any queries, I've shared my coordinates on the first slide. You can reach out to me. Over to you, Mr. Yeah. Hi.
Hi. I have one question. So nowadays we see people leaving so much of digital footprint across different platforms.
Yes.
Is there a way we can kind of collate all user data from different platforms and then try to see their behaviors across that they are kind of exhibiting across different platforms? Are companies already doing it, or
Yes.
is it a way that you can share the data with all the or get data from all the big companies like the Googles and the Apples of the world?
So I'll take this question because I've worked very closely in this domain also. So the first thing is there's a lot of platforms which share their data with a DMP. This is called data management platform. So generally around edtech, whenever you put an ad script on your website, they collect a lot of data about customers who are visiting your particular website. And this data is passed on to a data management platform. They are anonymized in form that it's at a IFA, identification for advertiser level. You collect that data. Now it's available on a DMP platform, and post that you can go ahead and use it. This would be treated like a third party data for you. You can't do things like what you can do with first party data. You can acquire this data while working with data management platforms and go ahead and use it. Though Facebook, Google, or any of the large enterprises, they are more of a wall garden approach. They don't share their data with other platforms. They keep their data inside their own platform. They generally don't share it. While other advertising networks do go ahead and share it. Some of the popular DMPs you can look up is Lotami, LifeSite. There's a company called Trappist in Bangalore, India, which does something similar. So these are different companies who have access to this data and they build their intelligence on top of it.
Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
People were requesting my coordinates, so I'm just putting that screen up again. Okay, thank you guys. Over to you, Michelle, if you want to conclude with something.
Do anyone have any questions? If there is no question, we're gonna close this session. So thank you very much for Biplav to share so many details about AI product management. And I'm pretty sure you guys have learned a lot from it because I did learn a lot from Biplav's speaking. So I have just sent the link to our WhatsApp group once again. So if you haven't joined any of our WhatsApp group, please click the link to join. And we're gonna share the recordings of this session and the PPT in the group. So please join and stay tuned. And also we have 2 other webinars for tonight. So if you are interested, you can join the group and for asking for more information. So thank you very much. Thanks again for Biplav and thanks again for everyone to be here. Take care and stay safe, okay?